to start with our building. The annex, you want to start with replacing the rubber roof, the upper rubber roof, that way, and then upgrading the light fixtures. Do you want us to start on those and see where we are?
Some of that, those light fixtures we've already done, so we may just keep doing it ourselves.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
So
How is our roof?
So we can take that, I mean, are you still gonna spend some of that money,
We're
Greg?
still
or-
spending, I can pull it out of the maintenance budget and fix what we need to.
So we can take that out of there?
Yeah. For right now.
Maybe just make some notes on that, Debbie, that spending out maintenance budget or something. So one of the A's at the annex was the upgrading of the HVAC system controls.
That's controls. Jeff and I, his unit has been one of the problems that I've been trying to catch doing it, and I've caught it once. My understanding was before I got here, the old control system in this building went down. They patched it together correctly, and it was supposed to be finished later on the following year or the year after, and it really has never been done. I would like to see it get tied back together, so like on weekends, we can save some energy on the weekends instead of just letting the units run wild full bore. Some of the other problems are the control valves that control the cooling as well as the heat are failing also. So that 55 is a rough estimate to fix the controls, fix the control valves for the heating and cooling, and get us back up.
Okay.
And of all of our buildings, this building does cost us the most.
This is, you're building this
This one's
building,
terrible.
it's $5,000 to $6,000 a month. What it's running.
So I think we should maybe, I mean, that would be a maybe for me. I mean, I'd like to see where all the other numbers come when we total up what we got left.
Okay.
Let's move down to the Carnegie.
Okay. Carnegie, at one point you were talking about replacing the boiler and the pump, but that was to go, and replacing the roof. That's still the direction we want to head on that building?
It's rough,
They, from talking with their builders as well as Weathercraft, they put it, instead of putting an S1 slate roof, they put an S2, which is a softer slate, on it years ago, before we got it. That's how old that roof is. It's 50 years old, easy. Tile's just cracking, and it's just turning into like sandstone, just deteriorating. The tar paper underneath is starting to dry up and crack and break also.
if we put a new roof on, do we have to do slate?
It's,
With that building, I think we're gonna have to keep it looking
I think we can,
just like look.
we can either do a slate look, or I think we can put a metal roof back on it. I think those are the two options we have, since it is a
A
historic.
metal that looks like slate, or
I would
like a
just do
standing
it,
seam, or
a standing seam.
That's what I would do.
That's
Yeah,
I would do that.
I,
But something about the building, I thought before they were saying,
Well, I'm sure the old
historic.
buildings.
Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I put copper roof on it.
can you check and see what,
I'll have to make some calls to see what,
Didn't we do some,
We did the lower part of the roof, we have done the part that has the.
okay, so it wasn't the part with the tiles on it?
Right.
no, the lower part was the rubber roof.
Because I remember we changed out that unit or whatever.
Right.
Shit, I don't remember. Okay. Can we get a cuss jar up here too, out of the corner? Well, we did
I'm good with
something.
at least seeing what those are gonna run, I mean.
yeah, because that boy, a slate roof,
so-
That was a rough cost that I got from the guys a couple of years ago, that 100,000, I just looked at
Okay.
I mean, if we went with a metal seam, I'm sure it'd be cheaper. I don't know if the Historical Society would be in an uproar if we did a nice, I'm not say use copper, but use a copper.
There's nothing
color.
saying we had to or couldn't put whatever we want to on there. I was thinking at some point there was something saying we had to do something.
Well, it's on the National Register, I'm sure. And I don't know if that ties us to,
How, we could check into that too. Maybe I'll have Jill check into that.
I would find out because I don't think the National Register has squat to do with it. It just says, hey, here's a nice piece of paper, you're on the registered list, and
I don't know if you're,
if you take money for it, like windows or something for part of the building, then you're limited on what you can and can't do with it. But I'm,
if
if
you
the
got
historical
you
society
got
wants-
historic tax credits, you'd have to, but we didn't do that.
If the
So,
historical
We get all
society
kinds
wants
of
to,
tax credits.
huh?
We get all kinds of tax credits, we just don't pay.
But we don't get historic tax credits on
We
that
don't pay, we
building.
don't pay tax.
No, I know. But,
Have Jill look into
well, if the historical society wants it to be a slate roof again, and they can pay the difference, we'll do it. I'd be fine with that. But if we, the metal gotta be a lot cheaper. I may be wrong on that, but
Does the metal have a longer life?
oh yeah,
35,
no, it ain't got a longer life. The other stuff's 50 years old. That's,
yeah. Slate lasts longer.
does it?
I think that slate's gonna cost a lot more. I don't think 55. Is that what you had up there?
No, I think I had 100.
I'd be surprised if that would touch it.
Well, Weathercraft did it, and it was right around 78, and that was a couple years before I got here.
Oh, we have had a bid on that slate?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, let's check on it, move on. Sorry.
Sure.
Get down to weeds on it otherwise.
it. Now, if we find damage underneath there, then that's.
That's another story.
Mm.
Oh,
We found our
there's gonna be
courthouse.
damage underneath there, I guarantee you.
Did I hear an okay on the rubber roof? Are we supposed to be working on that on this building? And I assume when you say this building, it's just the walkway?
No, the walkway's done.
Walkway's
The
done.
the rubber roof I'm talking is buffer, prosecutor's office up there on that catwalk, and then also out here underneath this, walk-in entryway.
Why do we got buckets out there yet?
Because that's what I thought it was the walkway.
I'm not sure. I'll get rid of them.
No, I don't mean right
No,
now. I
I-
mean when it rains. Why do we still have
Because it
leaves?
comes running in out of the door up there by them, because when the rain hit that 6 inches of heavy rain.
It's like our window.
So I didn't know if that was an okay on that to bid
Yeah.
that out.
Is it
Mhm.
a way to fix that door?
Replace it, not put one back in.
Can we just build a big roof over top of these buildings to keep the water off?
A roof over the roof.
Let's just put out a tent.
Okay, well, I heard that was a yes then, right?
To bid it, yes.
Yeah.
Bid it.
Yeah.
Okay, then the Carnegie Building, you're gonna work on that as far as, what did you say, you're gonna get some prices, or you're gonna read it?
Yeah, the replacement of the boilers and the replacement of the roof, boilers and pumps.
Boiler and pumps, that should be a good number.
Well, let's bid them.
I would say the roof, if we get an answer, if we can do metal standing seam or slate, that should be a pretty good number.
Fine, might bid it both ways. Come and give us a price on both.
Okay.
Okay, courthouse.
Courthouse, sidewalks and railings. you
They're
got-
bad. I was looking at those yesterday when they were putting that window in. It's,
The railing is, there's nothing at the
There's
bottom that's
nothing.
rusted.
They're gone.
I mean, just.
but we had one of the attorneys fell over on the Monroe side. He came over and he said, I'm not gonna sue you, but he said, sooner or later, you're gonna get sued.
It's a-
You can paint it yellow, but he said that still doesn't, those have dropped so bad. And then the main sidewalk coming in to the main entrance to the courthouse is just crumbled away to nothing too. And,
Part of that we was holding off to see what we were gonna do at the jail on the west side of the building, or northwest side, whatever we'll call it. Because there wasn't any sense in putting that, or there's some spots.
are we gonna
that
change
need-
our main entrance to the courthouse if we do that?
Yeah. There would be a ramp and everything going up on on the northwest side.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of changes.
If we use Architect Alliance.
We can do it if we want to, Wood County, and I've got a permit for that.
Well,
We were kind of waiting until we knew the windows and they're gonna be bringing in heavy
I can do
equipment,
what I want,
parking it
yeah.
on the sidewalks and stuff like
You should have
that.
one of them.
yeah, and you might want to do it at, but so those sidewalks, I got a call into Britt, because our
Hear about the Parks and
exposed
Rec,
aggregate
Mount Pleasant.
sidewalks are crumbling too, and then that brick look out,
It's even. Yeah, it's heating up.
I want to see with the city what they're gonna do.
So is that okay to have Jennifer look at that and start,
Bid the sidewalks and the
Yeah.
handrails. I'm okay with bidding it, yeah.
'cause I mean, I don't.
Those
think
handrails
we-
are gonna have to be replaced or something.
Oh, yeah, they'll have to be replaced.
Are you gonna do it all one bid, or, I know Jennifer's going on, God, here we go again.
Well-
How do you wanna do this? You wanna do it piecemeal together, do the southeast side of the courthouse steps and railing, or, cause that side I'd like to leave alone, but if there's some really bad spots we need to address, let's just fix those for now until we figure out what we're gonna do. with
We
the
need to do the sidewalk that runs alongside the courthouse. Even if we would do that addition stuff, you're still gonna have that sidewalk that runs along it, and it's dropped and
I
it's,
think all that's gonna be tore up and stuff when they're working on it, if I remember correctly. The
Well, like
sidewalks,
Debbie
I
said
don't-
though, when they put in the new windows, are they gonna be?
well, I'd wait till after they do the windows, but maybe we have time to do it in the fall or not.
And we can come back, we can look at assess it after the windows are done and.
Yeah, yesterday when they had that big, I'm sure it's gonna,
Yeah, it's gonna tear up the yard again
mhm.
on the way around it.
Gonna put plywood down or something. right?
Yeah, we'll put plywood down.
Yeah,
It
that's
still
not too
needs
bad.
some
Okay.
average cost is $8 a square foot, so depending on how much you guys wanna do.
On sidewalk.
And it would definitely have to be staged as far as, especially if you're going all the way to the city sidewalk and back to our building and refinishing all of that, yeah, that would definitely have to be restaged.
Okay, replacement of rubber roof at Health.
We patched it.
We've patched it for the last 5 years that I've been here, and they're saying it's about gone.
Okay.
It's got a ballast on it too, rock ballast on top of it, so
You guys want to bid that?
Yeah, we're gonna stay in it for the time being, yeah. I mean, even if we would find another place and that we sell it, you'll get more for it with a new roof on than you will with a leaky
it's
roof.
probably a freezer, you can drop that to 7,400. That's what I bid so far.
Okay. Bid the replacement of the rubber roof at Health. Okay. Juvenile.
We talked about the generator switch, we did bid that, but it's been several years ago, so we can put that back out. If you guys are, and again, it's not just the pigtails, it's not anything else with that. And then you talked about metal door replacement. And those were an okay, if they're still an okay.
So Greg, can you refresh my memory, because I mean, it seems like we did that pigtail thing at Juvenile last time, it was about 35,000 or something. And
What the problem is how
the disconnect switch.
to just put a transfer switch in. The cheapest one I found from just buying it ourselves through Granger or whoever, transfer switch, because we got 800 amps coming into that building.
Right.
We've got to put an 800 amp transfer switch. Disconnect. Just because, just because we're only gonna run a few things, they still have to run that amount of volt amperage through that transfer switch all the time for everything else. The problem is the way the building was laid out and the wires were run off the transformer where the meter is outside, you've got to dig all that up and repipe it. That's where it starts getting to be very expensive.
Why can't, so I'm just trying to think of another way to do that. I mean, I get that you're bringing 800 amps in.
We're bringing 800 amps into the building.
Right, but at some point, those gotta be split up into.
They are split off at different breaker panels.
Right, so why couldn't we, inside, why couldn't we split and set up another panel
Well,
to run essential stuff?
I understand what you're saying, but
That would have no way to backfeed the system. So, I mean, if we have a crisis situation down there, we may need 100 amps of stuff.
right.
I mean, we gotta keep the freezer going, we gotta keep a little bit of heat going.
Security system going. I understand what you're saying. Let me get with an electrician to see if that is feasible to do it that way.
I mean, I don't know, maybe that's gonna cost more, but I'm thinking, okay, let's put a whole separate panel in that runs 3 or 4 different things with a pigtail on the outside, and we'll put a disconnect on the inside, and we can disconnect it and
Let me see what I can find.
power that panel.
Yeah, because that kind of,
I mean, just so that we could build, park, and take a generator down there and plug that sucker in, we only need 100 amps. Take
I'll
a
see what we can do.
smaller generator. I mean, am I thinking wrong there, or?
I don't know. I'll have to find out. I know what you're trying to say, to try to do. Legally.
Because I know what I would do if I needed power there and we didn't have a pigtail switch.
Oh, I know what I do too.
Yeah, I'd take a hot and a negative in there and I'd hook it up.
Yeah.
And I'd say, we're powered. And I'd throw all these breakers that we don't need, right?
Yeah, and make sure it's not transmitting back out to the line, yes.
Well, there'd be no way to know if we were, I mean, we'd be pumping juice that way too.
Oh, we got that fixed, so it wouldn't be going back out.
That's what I'm gonna have to figure out.
Well, that's why we had that disconnect switch at 800 amps, but we, I mean. we
That
just-
keeps it from going back out,
Yeah.
so we should be fine there.
But the
Comes down to it, we have-
800 amp disconnect switch is the thing that costs us,
That's
A
about
fortune.
Yeah, it's $10,000.
yeah.
And that's just for a manual one, that's not an automatic.
right?
An automatic is another 4,000 if we were to put a generator in.
Because the problem is, you know,
Problem
they
is that
gotta
building has.
cut the wires short and, you know,
We gotta run
refeed
new
them.
line,
Yeah,
you know.
and then add new wires, and so we don't need 800 amps of
No,
emergency
we don't.
power.
No, no, all we need down there to run everything is probably.
I mean, I'd like to get something done, but I'd like to do it. I don't want to spend 35,000.
No, I don't
Let's say
either.
35,000.
I understand.
It seems,
Yeah.
it just seems,
That's what.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
yeah.
Let me call some friends.
But that's the way Ameren wanted it done, right?
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is it's not their money, first of all, and that's just stupid.
Let me see what I can come up with and work out and find a
Yeah.
price.
Okay,
That's safe.
right, sure. Metal door replacement.
They've got some doors down there that are rusting apart. And I was down there yesterday, and they've got, let's hold off on that. Let me get it, because we got some frames that are rusting around, some window frames and stuff that are, you can stick your finger through them. So we're gonna give you a couple frames we're gonna have to replace totally. We'll just hold off on that.
Can we bid that with the jail door? Save the same money?
No, probably not.
Well, I mean, if we need to bid that in the window frames, let's get a bid and see where it comes in at.
We can do that.
Why can't we replace the doors? Do we not have the tools?
Because the doors are hooked to the metal frames, the metal frames are rusting, and it's all one big piece.
Yeah. Why can't we just replace the whole thing? I'm looking at it because we can do it a hell of a lot cheaper. We're gonna pay somebody for doing anyways to do it.
I understand that.
Do we not have the tools to do that stuff? We don't have the
I don't.
know-how.
Those are those hollow metal frames, aren't they, or
Yeah.
aluminum frames that raise or,
I'm just looking at the money you could save. You could probably buy a whole lot of tools on it and, I don't know.
Google how to do it.
I have a hard time swallowing that pill every time we got paid prevailing wage to do this stuff and pay extra to get something done that can be done. It can be done right, just as good or even better with our own people. I know you don't
Now,
have.
does replacement follow under prevailing wage, or is that?
Getting more that way.
That's maintenance.
Yes. Well, they've changed that a little bit too.
Well, tell them to
Jill
sue
about
us.
that. You can
That
talk
is
to Jill.
maintenance. That is a door, we're maintaining the door. It's maintenance. Sue.
That
I ain't
only
been
matter,
sued
most
long.
of those people doing it are charging you an exorbitant rate anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
Can we have one of our, like our Eastern District Commissioner, just come down to, and get a work party
Sure, I'll
together, and
agree.
Yeah.
we do that as a fun work day, barbecue a little bit.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
It'll probably cost more than paying somebody else.
I'm not doing it for free. I got kids to support. And that's why.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get some prices on it and see where we're at.
I'm just curious. That's one thing I don't want to get even to touch is bidding that kind of stuff myself. I just want to stay as far away. Good Lord, I could work a couple days a month and just working for the government.
There you go. Okay, Shepherd's.
The only thing I can say we need out there is those AC units and heat units are gonna need to be replaced. They're getting,
Are they complaining again?
It's hot out here.
Oh, okay. I was just teasing you. Are they shot?
they are pretty well getting, yeah. I'm gonna have to put new flues on it if we don't do something before long.
Do we have any other options besides $25,000 units?
Well, that's for
Replace
two.
them?
That's for two.
I don't know. That's just for one room.
That's actually two rooms out there that have, there's two AC units out there, two heat units out there.
Okay, that's for 2 rooms.
Well,
So you talking about a condensing unit or like all?
I'm talking about the whole thing. Replace the whole
So,
thing.
so it's a heat and
Heat and cooling.
total HVAC system.
Total HVAC. I put 2 heat pumps out there, the same as Energy, and with the gas backup.
Okay, let's bid it and see where it's at.
So, okay, it's heating and cooling, it's not just
it's
the
both.
air conditioner. Okay.
One's a
Jennifer could wear a sweater, you know, in the winter time.
One's a 5-ton unit, one's
Just
the
a
other one's
tank
2.5.
top.
That's the way it should be.
What I was hoping was
Short.
gonna happen was that building was gonna get, and we were gonna take the one we put over there, out there, but
Oh,
that's gonna be a wall. Same way with the heating unit out there, I was hoping to take that out and put it over Carnegie, but that's not gonna happen for a while either.
Okay, so let's talk about the hanging heaters out at Shepherd's.
Or like you said, when it's told off on.
Turn them off?
I turned them down to 45.
Okay.
And now, I haven't been out there to check them again, but if I've already told them if they're turned back up, I'm turning the power and gas off to them. So per your instructions.
I just don't. We'll see how cold it gets in there, so. Okay, Debbie, you got a total of what we've,
Oh, I need it. Not quite. I did have had all the blue, but I think we may have added some.
did you get your chair on there too? Did you want a new chair too?
Yeah, no,
massage chair?
I didn't put my chair on there.
Have you seen them sleep chairs they've been having on Facebook now?
Hey, I could use one of them.
A cup holder and a
Napping chair.
chair. With
I
straw.
think I need more than a chair. Mental health
Debbie,
thing.
do you need a mental day?
Can I have one?
Probably gonna need more than one.
What's wrong with you all? Y'all not drink?
That's the problem.
Maybe you should have a couple glasses of wine each night. Relax yet and watch Parks and Rec. Ron Swanson, he can be your hero.
Shameless.
What?
Shameless. Showtime. Shameless.
Oh, I don't know what that is. That's over my head. If it's longer than a half-hour show, I can't watch it.
While we're waiting, do you
Okay.
guys want to
Yeah,
sign this
let's-
agreement with
let's,
Newman Connolly and Ruth? They're the ones that do
So now you're running the commission.
I got about 335.
assessment
There we go.
appeals.
Yeah, Joe,
$75 an
Joe,
hour.
this is
That's rough.
representation agreement for assessment appeals. This is for Mr. S.
Is that the same ones we had before?
Yes, it's just our annual renewal of
Okay.
the agreement with John Reese.
Where's Chris at?
Actually, Joe was gonna present it.
Why is she doing it?
Well, he sent it to me for me to sign. It didn't have a place for you guys to sign, so I took it to Jill. Jill talked to John Root. He sent over a new agreement.
Did he need to be here for it to explain it? He's probably got plenty to do over there.
He has Dave signed it over there today.
Wow, Mr. Jokester today.
I said with a straight face.
Yeah. I move that we sign the agreement with Newman, Conley, and Root.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Just of all the ones we've highlighted, excluding computer services, we're about $315. Again, that's only on estimated cost.
Right.
So it's a good start, and it's a big job for Jennifer as far as all those different projects, but, so be patient.
So, what's that leave us?
If we add that 300
Take that out of that 1,035,000,
to, yeah.
so we got 700,000, right, roughly.
And that'd be about right, since we're probably waiting on about that much money to come in for the year, so, again.
It's not bad to have that sitting there to see how many other roofs and AC units we got repaired.
Well, I got a list here of everything that we need to do, so.
That's just what we know we need to do right now. That's
Yeah,
what
but
we
there's
know.
always something, that jail is always a kind of a big surprise.
The only other
Did you have
one-
any other B list stuff? you
Well,
wanna
that's
look
what
at?
I mean, I just thought that we'd go through the, kind of the top ones and get them bid, and then we start looking at some of these others.
And
But
we
I'm
can
fine
come
with that.
back, we can come back at third quarter, and look at what projects we got underway, which ones we
Or
finished
choose
up.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Where are we at on windows for this building?
Part of the same
That's part of
project.
Part of the same thing.
What's the timeline?
April through October.
Yeah. March.
No, I thought it was just a courthouse.
No,
All
All of it.
No,
Oh, that's why there's 100 windows.
no, there's
Oh, there's
99 windows
windows
just in the courthouse.
Oh.
That's not counting us.
I
So they
mean,
count each window as a window over there.
I think that
Well, some of them are like 3
HVAC
windows. I
system
count them.
controls here in the annex, did you highlight that one? That one included, or
Thought we talked about it. I thought we said yes on that one.
that 55?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a maybe, I didn't have one, so
Right.
that was
I
yes.
mean, I think we ought to take a look at least bidding that, I mean,
See where we're at.
Yeah.
Which one?
The HVAC.
HVAC.
We've got-
system
Oh, for this
control
building?
For this
We've
building.
got
Oh,
to do
yeah.
something. We got to do
Yeah.
something. There's no
Because I haven't
lighting.
touched my control unit, and one day it's 80 in there, and the next day it's 65. And I know I haven't hit menopause yet, or whatever. I don't think I have, I might be getting the symptoms. I thought I was just bitchy once in a while, but I haven't had the heat flashes. I do that. I do that, it's like 3 times a month though. I'm worse than a woman.
So I see replacement of windows at health department.
Yeah, they're leaking like
Is
a
it paper
sieve.
when it has?
Is that something that, since we're doing these window replacements and we got this other company
Well,
in
show it on
here?
TV now, they got
I mean,
more stuff
that's
on
something
TV
that
than
We
your
can also do that and print.
You really
See
want to
if
know
they,
about?
give us
Let's
prices. to
say,
both
let
of
today
I've
be
never
known
seen
as the
Jeff
day.
blush so much as you.
Let
Is
today
that
be
something
the
that we
day
did?
that you made me cry.
Did that all.
That's on TV now, you know?
Is that something that we could add to their contract, or
And we're live too.
do they have any
Just did
unit,
it as a lump sum and
That's the part
then,
do they have any unit prices or anything?
no, just like drywall and plaster repair, but I'm sure that stuff like that, not actual windows.
Well, I mean, not that we couldn't add it, but well, we got a company down here that does windows and doors and gave us a pretty good number on it. You know, we can see how this starts to go, and maybe since they're already here, you know, maybe we could go ahead and bid those windows at Health and doors at Pringer, and maybe that's something they'd look at.
Oh, God, it's hot
I can
here.
call him and talk to him, see what he says.
There you go.
And then we just
We're
go
gonna have to bid it,
Yeah,
but,
or we just put it out for bid and just.
Right. right.
And I'm sure Jennifer had envisioned putting those roofs together, the rubber roof here, Carnegie, and then Health. So,
Yeah, I'd like to, bid
Okay.
as much of that stuff as package as we can to get the better price. Right, yeah.
The only other question I have, we can talk about EMS sales tax, but I just want clarification on the 911, the extra money that we were going to pay for the equipment to the city. I got an invoice for $68,466.77, which is at 25% of the project, which is based on 25% of what you guys agreed to. And there is a list of what they purchased citywide. I need to know if you envision this coming out of EMS sales tax or our courthouse sales tax. It's a list. I just need an answer for that because we just like to, I kind of want to.
So you're saying we're gonna eat all of it through EMS and courthouse?
No, I just need to know where you think is the appropriate place to pay for that out of. Right now, currently, our 911 cost, we pay half of it out of the law enforcement and half of
Okay,
it
that's
out
where I
of
was
EMS.
going. Are we taking any of this
Yeah.
out of law enforcement or not? Because they are their own funded fund.
I think this was something you guys agreed on with the city to help them with this upgrade of their equipment down there. So
I
we
think
did not budget this in the sheriff's.
We agreed
office.
on, but we didn't say how.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's the deal. We could take a portion out of it, out of the law enforcement. I'm fine with us taking it out of the EMS and the capital improvement sales tax, since it's a one-time cost.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that too. I mean, we,
So you want half and half? or-
half and half, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I did have the whole figures in here, so we'll just do that.
Just let it be noted that we are eating it, and the law enforcement fund's not gonna be eating any of it.
Okay?
So I got a question for Jennifer.
We're not doing dirt.
So as we bid this stuff, and so I just, before we bid it, I mean, so say we got 3 rubber roofs. I'd like to know how we're gonna award that. Not, are we gonna award it individually per building, or are we gonna award it as a lump sum?
Usually I'll put in there to where we can do either one we want, depending on the numbers for back, unless you want me to do something different.
Well, we've done a couple of, like, when we did rubber roofs for this building, EMS, we had, all right, Annex was X amount, Carnegie's was X amount, Health was X amount. What's your total bid if you want to do all 3?
And we kind of did that on windows too, didn't
Yeah,
we? Yeah.
that gives us an option. Yes.
So
One
they
company
list them individually, and then
give us the
let
total price
they
they
give
want them all.
us a deduct for all 3 or whatever if they want.
Right.
Okay.
We had one when we were doing windows who did the courthouse, but not
Not this
this
building.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can talk.
Yep. Work.
Okay, so the other thing, EMS, capital, again, I'm gonna add half to this, 911 cost to this, but these are the items that Mike had presented, and most of them are on a replacement schedule. So I'm assuming the only one that's in question is the QRV. In my mind, the rest of them, I mean, we go over each one of them each one. But I think we're in the process of continuing the remounts to a year on the vehicles, the ambulance themselves. And then this, well, we can go to the top, the CPR. At the Lucas, we're in phase 5, I guess, or phase 2, I'm sorry, to purchase 5. That's $75,000. The cots, we're at phase 2. Again, the QRV, skip that one. The portable batteries, the NCI trailer, I'm sure you guys know what those are. And this was kind of just a plug number. This is nothing that he had put in there, something I did, if I remember right.
Miscellaneous?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I guess the only big question is the QRV. And again, if you want to hold on that for a while, we can just tell me other things have been approved with that.
So what's the replacement schedule on the current QRV? Or is it Mike's vehicle that needs replacement?
Yeah, because that's where we were gonna replace his, and then we were talked about giving his to health. But I think his only has like 41,000 miles on it.
What I had up there before was QRV after 6 years, asking for the second QRV, and the director's car after 6 years being replaced. So basically, what I had this year was the director's car being replaced.
Okay.
It is the 6-year mark for that, but was it, this was all up to you guys. And then the QRV, the existing one, would be 6 years old in 2018. So, again, these are the other items that we talked about and putting them on this plan here.
So what's the mileage on his vehicle?
I think, I said about 41,000 miles.
Yeah, because I thought we talked about it.
And that's what we had talked about, maybe giving that to the health department and then getting a new one, but
I think that we were looking at both of the vehicles responding to calls, and it's not set up
no.
for an actual call vehicle. So if we're gonna be doing that, and if we're gonna look at getting the health, a new vehicle, then now would probably be the time to do that.
But then we got down to whether or not Mike would be driving the second QRV or not, right? So did we want to add another QRV or did?
So currently the mileage is, yes, 42,647 as of the end of December.
I don't think having 2 QRVs right now is really, I don't know if we're really utilizing the one we've got to its potential. I mean, having 2.
I think that's a discussion for another day.
Okay. Okay, so
I know we do need to get on the COTSO, talking with, we're getting some patients they're picking up who weigh over 700 pounds. And I think that's the weight limit on those is like 700. Now, they said they build in, they have some extra weight built into those. But, if we would be transporting a patient, one of those things would give. So I think they're talking about getting one that has more maximum weight.
all right, so I would assume everything else is approved except for the miscellaneous thing there and the QRV.
So, phase 2 of the Lucas, is that the last phase?
I think that's a continuing thing too.
And those things have been, we've been getting a lot of praise.
Then they would start over again with 2000.
So that is the last phase of the Lucas.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But the COTS, looks like there's a third phase.
Yes, and it looks like 3 instead of 5 in 2017. So cheap, 5 of 3 of them versus. Yes. Oh, sure, 3 this year. No, we have 4 this year. 3, 4, and then 3.
I was thinking those things were 18,000 apiece, but I would get to 132. I think more than
Yeah,
that.
I don't know exactly what they ended up costing us, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it was more like 30,000.
They're expensive. I mean, I was thinking like 25, 20,
I think by the time you got that to an Alki bracket, it was, yeah, close to 30.
probably.
You think prevailing wage is bad, getting emergency medical service? It's just-
Getting into any safety field or emergency services, and their toys are expensive.
Okay.
I guess it's probably good to phase that stuff in over 3 years so we can
It'd be nice.
replace it.
It'd be nice for future. I mean, you know, we tried to do that on all of our capital here. It's just with the age of our buildings and the possibility of us doing different stuff, it's kind of hard to come out with a 30-year plan for roofs on all of our buildings, and it's good. One day, hopefully, we'll get to that point. But until all of our buildings are up to, and you don't want them up to snuff on one day, then everything's gonna go wrong 20 years from now. And it's kind of a hard thing to budget for. So that is, the only other thing I have was not so much capital, but is, Chris, you had mentioned, we talked about like a salary study being done countywide. Now, I can bring this up a different day if you like, but other than that, and I know we talked about getting on that, you know, the first year, trying to figure out what we want to do for the next year, so we can make it its own meeting. But
I don't think it's too early to start talking about it. We did one in 7, or you all did one before I was here, the other one we had,
2005.
that early 5.
11 years.
I mean, there again, doesn't say we have to do anything, just to go out and get a price for it, see what it's gonna cost.
I think that some of that we maybe could do internally, and maybe we have someone review it at the end. You know, maybe we come up with a group internally to kind of sit there and do some of the legwork that we paid before for them to do. We come up
I
with
think we have
good
a volunteer.
comparison.
Look at me right now.
Looking at me.
No, I don't disagree. I mean, I think there's,
I mean, I think there's some things that you want someone outside to do. I mean, I don't think that we necessarily have the ability to rewrite all the job descriptions. I mean, I don't think I would want to take that on internally. But maybe we come up with, here's a schedule that we're all comfortable with, and here's who we've compared ourselves to, and then we push it to somebody else and say, here, review our scale and write us new job descriptions when we're done.
Job descriptions, I don't know, it's kind of like them bids we got. If you tell somebody to send you in their qualifications and stuff, one of them sent us a list of all the equipment they own, which to me doesn't have a thing to do whether they can do the job or not. They're gonna have to pay to get an excavator in there, whether they have one or they have to rent one.
I don't think it's so much that it's not something that we couldn't do. I think as the commission, I'd be careful to make sure it's going to be acceptable by all departments, acceptable by all elected officials, and doing some of it internally would, you know, in their view, maybe coming from the commission, you know, I know this group, I mean, we get a group together, but again, you don't want a group that's too big, you wouldn't want representation from every department. Those kind of groups don't really produce. I mean, it just takes so long for anybody when it's that big to.
I'll play devil's advocate there. Why wouldn't you want somebody from every department, every elected office in on that meeting? And I know you get that many people in here, you're probably just, I'll put down my job description too then, or my job requirements is herding cats, you know. Do they have a job description? What does that pay for herding cats? Most everybody does that at some point here.
I think you need the input from every department. I don't know that every department, I mean, I think one of you may be on the committee, but then we talk to each of your departments individually. I mean.
Well, now we got that spreadsheet from the sheriff.
yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the way he did that was correct. or-
No, but
But the problem has been that our base never moves. Our
Right.
base has never moved, and so, to me, I think we're gonna have input from everybody. I mean, obviously,
Right.
that's part of it. Now, do we have an outside firm take all that and then do that for us? I don't know. I mean, I think we're gonna have somebody do it, obviously. But, I mean, there's obviously a base salary for a certain position. And then as somebody is more qualified, you know, there's an extra bump for that. And then if they have something else, maybe there's an extra bump for that. You know, over at the sheriff's department, do they get time for military service or whatever? I think was one of his things, you know. Do you get additional pay for years of military service?
I really think some guidelines is really what we're looking for. Here's kind of, if this person comes in with this and this and this, and here's kind of the guideline of how that person would vary from someone that walks in without any of those things.
But if we get to a starting salary that it takes the COLA into effect every year, and that grid moves every year, regardless of whether our pay moves every year, then somebody that's been here for 20 years, well, it shouldn't matter, right?
But what do you do with
But I think we need.
an elected official who comes in and they hire 2 employees and they start them out at more than what somebody who's been here for 6 years is making right now? How do you,
I've always thought that.
Well, then if I'm a person that's been here for 6 years and they're making more than me, I'm gonna be mad and I'll either start looking for a different job or quit. I don't think you're gonna fix it by this.
well, I don't, that's what I'm trying to figure out, how you fix it.
Well, and that's just it, because salaries become very personal, become a very hot topic item, and for, you know, I thought it worked very well when Archer came in. They invited all the department heads, they explained how their process was going to be, that they were going to be, you know, obviously very fair, go to each department, and each person had the opportunity to write down exactly what they did. And then their supervisor signed off on it, of course. Then it went to that company for them to review, you know, so, yeah, we want buy-in, we have to have buy-in. I mean, you can't obligate new elected officials that are potentially going to run someday to believe in this, but I think that's
Sure
where we
we
have
can.
to go. Budget-wise is all you have, so yes.
Say,
And I think really, if I was a newly elected official, I would like to have that schedule. I would not want to be making this up on my own, you know,
But you don't have to follow it.
Well, so, I'm not sure that we shouldn't have this on the agenda,
Yeah.
discussing this, but,
That's fine, that's like I said, this is a
Yeah.
good starting point. We
Yeah.
can talk about it.
at some point, I mean, you could reduce their budget based on that individual's, you know, starting salary and qualifications, so, you know, I mean, technically we could, right?
technically you could, but you would have to then agree by the end of the year. If they don't, then they will not get a check in December. Now, that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, we told them we weren't signing them pay stubs before, when we did those,
Well, but,
Almost
I mean,
temporary.
yeah, those are hard things to do,
Yeah.
but, I mean, if they come to us and say, I'd like to hire this person, here's their qualifications, and this is what I'd like to pay them, and we all have an agreement from the get-go, it's a whole lot different than them doing whatever they want, and then us having to swallow it.
And having an in-house group that these things go through before they get to the budget process, or, you know, that would be a good idea, you know.
Salary commission.
Yeah, kind of like what you guys do, yeah. Kristen, you talked about some other counties and how they are in the process of doing something like this?
Yeah, we have a couple that are currently out competitive bid or out in the middle of a salary study with an outside firm. I've also gotten some stuff from like Boone County as far as their process. I mean, they have kind of like a review board and they can go so much over the base salary, starting a position based on qualifications. If they go over a certain percentage, then you have to go to the board and request more than that. I mean, they have a little bit more of a process and an internal kind of system.
And they have a HR department.
They've got so much more. I'd be more
More than one
interested with
person.
some of these other counties that are starting to see how they do it.
We got an HR department, Debbie.
And how many other?
You know, I'm thinking we're gonna put a counter for you with Chelsea gone and all some of this other stuff. You can just stay here. We give you a hair dryer and put a shower. Do we have? She can shower over at the jail.
Your
Come on,
sofa
here.
bed is coming in tomorrow.
Yeah,
You could shower at the jail, couldn't you, Deb?
yeah, no.
No. I'm just saying, if you stay here.
No, but I mean, I think it has more legitimacy, or however you want to say that.
Legitimacy?
Yeah, that.
What'd you call it?
Legitimacy.
Libido?
No, I didn't say that.
Sound like you said libidiny?
No, legitimate, or whatever. See, I said it again, so I just. But anyway, to come from somebody outside of not getting from the commission.
Can you check maybe, Kristen, with these other counties that are starting that process? Kind of see what they're doing.
I know there's one that is in the middle of it. I mean, they already have an outside firm reviewing it. I just don't know. I mean, it's hard to ask questions in the middle of it whether or not you're happy with it. I know it's in the middle of Archer, everyone was okay with it, and after it came out, everybody kind of wasn't, so.
And I don't think, you think they weren't okay with it after it came out? I think they were not okay with it because we couldn't afford to get everybody on the grid in 1 year.
Right.
And we couldn't afford to keep up, maybe not afford, but the COLAs that we should have put on the grid, there was always a debate. Was it really the cost of living index we put on that grid? Or is it what we determined was a COLA for that year? So, you know, to me, that's two different things. What we determined is not really the cost of living index. So to me, that grid should have only moved by the cost of living index in this area. Because basically, that grid is a market of what this area paid for those particular jobs. So again, but we didn't continue to put the COLA on there either way, so.
So there's an actual COLA or what we give. But
I don't know.
it should move either or, right?
Yeah, it should have moved one.
Yeah, so
one
if
way
we
or
get
the other.
2%, it moves 2%, but instead of, if it was actually only 1, it still moves 2,
Well,
right?
either way, you guys could have chose whether you thought that grid, to me, the grid is a market value of that position.
Right.
So the market value would then, in my mind, move by the cost of living index, not by what Cole County can afford to pay for a cost of living for their employees.
Well,
When
it
did
also
we
had
do
a
that
step.
Archer?
Yes, it
When
has
did you
to.
have that Archer study?
2005.
Okay. I keep hearing about it, but yeah.
I don't know, I guess I had some flaws with Archer's comparisons to who they compared us to, and when it came back, it was like everyone was underpaid because of the comparisons that they did. I don't think that everyone in the county is necessarily underpaid. I think that we need some adjustments to certain positions. I think we need a good set of rules and regulations on how we adjust salaries. I think we need just some standards to follow. And then we need a good scale to start with. And then we move it with the COLA.
And we did start out right with that. We actually, when people thought the market was changing for a particular position, or their position was changing, we had them reevaluated again by Archer, not internally. But then the last couple of years, we started moving people at what we thought was the market.
What did we end up paying Archer for that?
Back then, it was only like 25,000. So I have no idea what the number now is
Yeah,
today.
okay.
Let's get it on the agenda for next week, and we'll maybe move forward with
I'd say get some costs on what it's gonna cost to do it.
You want to bid it then, or?
I don't
You
know,
wanna
if
do
you
some
bid it,
stuff
it's a service,
internally?
right?
We did bid it before. I mean, it's just kind of a unique type.
I would rather look and be able to look at them
Maybe
and
we can find out from these other counties what they pay. by the
do some
number of
homework and see
employees.
how, which one we want to pick, why we want to pick them, how they go about it. I'm not sold on the Archer study. When I came up here, I think we can use it as a guideline, but I don't think it's something that we need to stick to. I think we've tried to make some adjustments with the merit pool. Some use it to make adjustments, some choose not to. So, I don't know. We can try it again. I think we'll kind of spin our wheels in the mud. The market value, I don't know, kind of, we consider we've had to make some adjustments to the nurses at one time because we weren't able to keep anybody. We got to play it by ear. We talk about market value. I don't know if any of us didn't have health insurance and you had to go out and get it on your own, go see what the value of that is.
Yeah,
And then they
Osage
take that all
County pays
into
like
perspective.
$200
They
a
do.
month.
I
for
know that
people.
they say they take that off in perspective, but I don't know if they put enough value on that really. I just got a lot of doubts about it. I'm not gonna shut it down. I'm just not gonna let it hold a bottle of butter. It'll be a piece of paper and we can take it at whatever value we want. If that's the direction we wanna go.
Well, it definitely takes a buy-in. It takes a buy-in from all your elected officials.
That's if you say this is the way we're gonna do it. If
Well,
we
if
wanna
they
use
have
it
a-
as a guideline, we can use it as a guideline and
Well, I think it would relieve some of the burden off the guys too. You know, if it was-
burden, what burden is it taking off of them?
Well, just to come in here new and figure out, well, where is the scale? What do people in the county get paid? You know, how is it valued, you know? To me, I mean, most of our elected officials come from a background that either come from the state or come from a
They
merit.
should have a real good idea how it works then.
Well, I say we have an Archer study, but we did away with it other than our own departments before. So I don't say that you have to follow this.
So if we get it done and then it says everybody has to have a raise, then what are we gonna do?
And you put it in the
What
court
if
order.
it says you're making too much money, we're gonna give you a pay
That's
cut?
right. That could happen. That could happen. Well, it won't, but
I
that
know,
could
it'll-
happen.
yeah.
And you
Well,
gotta
you
be
could
willing,
free-
and they gotta be willing to say, we're freezing it.
Yeah, you could freeze those salaries. And you could,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's gonna be-
and there's gonna be a lot of
very
people that may
personal.
not be on it, but you have to have some type of a plan to get those people to that. And maybe that's a 5 or 10 year plan, and maybe we won't be here, but at least, you know, at least if we give some direction to future commissions or whoever, is we're trying to get to this salary.
Maybe by the duty stages, do it in
And-
increments. It's,
Budget being nice.
Kristen can figure it out.
Well, I guess the reason
Yeah.
I thought internally is, I mean, you guys saw what Road and Bridge did. They kind of went through their list and, you know, tried to say, this is where I need to be, this is where we kind of fall in line. I think that it's good that we internally are evaluating those kind of situations, because someone coming from the outside may not know exactly how does this person compare to someone else if they don't have exactly the same job title.
But when they did theirs, and we've gotten other ones that have suggested ways to adjust theirs that was way out of line, and I think, I didn't agree with all the public works either, when we did it, I didn't.
Right, I didn't
at the
agree with the
time,
whole
but-
thing, but I'm saying that internally, we might have a better way of evaluating where we need to be and who needs to be adjusted and who doesn't, because not everyone there got an adjustment. It was,
And I'll
it
pick
was,
on public works, because that's one of our departments. Have we had troubles filling positions out there? Ever? If you have one that empties, that we've ever had anybody not apply for it, to fill it in 2 seconds. So then that tells me that something may not be necessarily wrong. I don't agree with somebody coming in that's been here 6 years and somebody else is getting paid more. And that's what I said, we've tried to fix that with the merit. So it's not getting fixed. We've tried. We put the money out there for it to get fixed.
I mean, There's no easy answer, unfortunately.
Well, if the elected officials come in here and say, well, I want some kind of diagram shows me how I'm supposed to pay people, because I don't want to make tough decisions, what the hell are they doing here? Point blank. You know, we gotta sit here and do it every day.
I think it's your responsibility to make sure we have a structure countywide, that we don't have a deputy clerk in one department getting paid more than a prosecuting attorney. It's your own duty to make sure that we're not, in my mind. Now, you may say elected officials can do anything they want. Yeah, unfortunately, in some departments you can, once
Okay.
the money's
When
allowed.
they got the merit raises, then if you have a, and I'm just using prosecutors, if you throw it out there, if you have a deputy prosecutor, then, and they're not getting paid enough, then that's where you use the merit to try to fix that.
That's true, Jeff, but are you gonna steal everyone else's merit to give it to one person to adjust their salary? Are you telling the rest of the people in your department, hey, you did a crappy job, but this person did really, really good, so I'm giving them everything to fix their
Sometimes you
salary?
gotta do that. You gotta tell them, you know, look, we wanted to give you 2% raise, but we gotta fix this other stuff first.
So then you get a new prosecutor who comes in here and says, aha, this one's way out of whack. Now you gotta bring all my other ones up because this has been going.
Who's it
way.
out of whack to?
The one that the previous prosecutor
Because you had
did.
2 people here that didn't agree on what somebody should get paid? I'd say right now you got 3 people up here that would say everybody's getting paid wrong, and we probably all disagree where that number should be. So the more people you have in the room, the more opinions you're gonna have,
That's
which
what I was
sometimes
worried
is
about with
good.
the committee.
But at the same time, if you just have 3, you're just gonna have 3 different ones, and you try to find some kind of happy medium.
Why don't
Not
you check with those
disagreeing.
other counties and just see how it's working for them? Yeah.
If we're not gonna do a merit and be willing to say, look, we're gonna give you just 1%, but we need to go 3% over here to try to fix something, then we might as well make it all COLA and just go flat across the board, the same for everybody. We've had some that we had to do that with too, and it's not fun telling somebody that's been here for 25 years, look, we didn't quite give you as much because we're trying to fix something else.
And I understand, and if this study comes back and says people should be frozen, that's gonna be a very hard discussion to have, you know. think.
I don't think there's anybody out here that doesn't earn their salary. And I don't think there's a person that works here that would say, I wish I'd made more money.
Right.
I guarantee you, everybody does. So,
Yeah, but the problem there is that we don't know really what that salary should be. I mean, we can take a guess at what market is, but I mean, do you know?
We're low.
And we're, and
Just
we're
looking at
still using
GIS
Arthur, we're
as an
using a study
example.
that's 10 years old.
The city, their GIS
Well, to some
department's
extent.
gone, so they're running an ad, it was in Sunday's paper. So they're advertising for a GIS specialist, not the director. And I think it starts out at $41,000 to $67,000. And that's just for, that's not the director, that's just for their GIS.
And the city has their own problems, I think, and issues, and I mean, a lot of people want to compare us to Boone County, they want to compare us to the city, they want to compare us to the state. It's,
Salaries Boone County pays are so
there's no way.
out of whack. If we were commissioners in Boone County, I'd be making 100,000 plus, so would these guys.
they're full-time commissioners.
But again,
They get
you
that.
know,
Well,
I don't
but
know what the
that's-
city got in raises this past year.
They
The
got
state-
0.
Yeah, they got
none.
paid 0.
Right, and the state got none.
Yeah, so
So our
we're,
people are, I hope, coming up a little bit more, you know,
Yeah.
to make us more attractive, but,
I'm proud that we were able
right.
to do that.
And I do think it's because of holding back on FTEs and, you know, the conservative way that we approach stuff, so.
I'm fine with moving on, get some pricing on the study thing. I'm just not a big fan of it. But
I'm typically not either, but I don't have the time to do it. I don't think anybody else does here. I don't know. I mean, I'd rather not spend any money on it either, but how do you know?
what positions are we having troubles filling
I'm not saying that we're having trouble filling positions,
besides?
but does that mean that we're paying the positions that we have filled the proper amount?
We're just
proper
looking for
amount. If
some
we're
guidance.
not, then we can't fill them.
But as we look to fill, as we look to give merit and make adjustments, how do you know who, I mean, if everybody does a great job, how do you know who to give more money to?
That's what the department heads and elected officials have to decide.
But how do you know what that amount should be?
How do I know, or
Yeah,
did-
how do you know?
Because I'm their boss, I know.
No, as the commission
Yeah,
and
but
budget-
how do you know what that salary should be?
As a commission, or as their boss?
No, as you.
Okay, if you're asking me as, if I'm Larry Benz, the Director of Public Works, how each one should get a raise, or how I think they should get a raise? I'm gonna dump it on to their boss, their director, to handle it.
Right.
If I see that they're losing people and they can't fill positions because they don't have any quality applicants, we're just getting the guys that just come out of prison, and they want to be an appraiser or an assessor.
But how do you know what to pay them?
You're
How
gonna
do
pay
you
them.
know what to pay the entry level guy? Are you paying him minimum wage?
Well, you advertise what we've been paying.
Would
And
that-
if you don't get any applicants, they're saying, well, I can keep working down here at ABC trash collection service and dumping trash cans all day and get paid more.
Okay, so just hypothetically, we don't get any applicants out of Public Works because we don't get any applicants here for maintenance because we're paying too low. Okay, so we're paying $11 an hour, whatever. We can't find anybody that's decent.
What should we pay?
Okay, so now in order to get good applicants, now we raise that wage.
And we
say-
did that with the nurses.
Right, and say we take that to $15 an hour. Okay?
Mhm.
So now we bring somebody in that's making more than somebody that's already working here.
Yep.
Therein lies the problem. So
Then
we,
the person that's working there should apply for that job.
well, he's already working here.
He's making that.
Yeah.
He's already here. He's
Yeah,
already a
I
maintenance
quit.
worker. He's already a.
No, you don't make it maintenance worker, we go and look at restructuring like we need to do at the ambulance anyway, and have maintenance worker 1, 2, 3. Okay, you have somebody that comes in and has a college degree, has work experience, has, like sheriff, but service experience, stuff like that. And they're qualified to be a maintenance 2. Okay, well, if there's not a maintenance 2 job open, he can apply for maintenance 1, and when he gets ready for maintenance 2, or a job opens there, then he can go up to maintenance 2. I agree with what you're saying. Well, I'm just in a good argumentative mood today, so whatever.
Okay, we won't even bring in the sheriff's
No,
department then, but.
no, I see exactly what you're saying, but then let's restructure.
But
The
we had to
nurses- we had
raise-
troubles getting nurses, period.
Right, but we
We
had
had
to
to raise all
raise
of
the
them.
base.
And there's still a
to
shortage
find
of
somebody.
nurses.
And you raise that base on those, and then when you raise them, and same with Public Works, you raise them to a different grade level, or grade within the system. Now you put them in a grade with other people that, to me, are not in the same type of work, same supervisor responsibilities. Now, the people that were in here, they should have moved up. Now
In
you
what,
got-
Public Works?
in the
Or you're
whole
saying,
grade.
are you comparing the
The
assessor's
county
office to Public Works?
Yep, the whole county.
Though, you can't compare, those are not apples to apples. Those are,
Well,
most of the
I'm
time, they're
just
not
saying.
anything the same.
Yeah.
We're gonna put this,
Well, I understand what you're saying.
we're gonna put this on next week's agenda, right?
Okay.
Okay.
And, in the assessor's defense, and, it doesn't always have to be the job that's not getting paid. It could be your boss sucks, and so you can't get quality people. So that's one thing too. I mean, you gotta look at the whole global effect of it. I mean, people love it. We don't have any openings to over the commission. We're great bosses.
Everybody loves it.
Okay, it's getting way deep
Okay.
in here.
Let's continue this next week. Kristen, will you kind of check with,
Next time I'm picking up.
I will
the
try and get
office.
names of if
see,
there's
see,
somebody
just
that's
see,
currently
yeah,
doing.
just see. Do we have anything else to come before the commission?
I still, my God, for studying, I'm sorry.
Debbie, can I borrow your computer, see if they have that photo? Sure.
How long is Chelsea gonna be out?
12 weeks.
12 weeks? Is it gonna, would it make sense to hire somebody temporary to help at least answer the phones and do stuff while she's gone? We got temp service, we can get somebody to help with that.
To answer the phone, it's gonna be very hard because they're gonna have to be able to get on the system, and I'm not willing
You're gonna have to
Any
train
temp
somebody.
get on the system.
You're gonna have to train somebody.
Not when, not
To
when
answer a
access.
phone?
I mean, what-
Finance office? Nope, she's busy talking to Jeff. I'll have her call you back.
Gotta be about it.
I know, but then the phone's not ringing and not getting answered. You're not being interrupted in between everything. You already don't delegate authority. Because you already just said, I'm not training them and let them into the system.
Well, I'm not gonna let people in to have access to social security numbers, birthdays, and stuff like that.
So the people.
How can we get
come from
somebody to,
services.
or do you, what,
Just
what do
let
you,
me
what do
see,
you
give me a
suggest?
couple weeks
Yeah.
and see
Yeah,
if
you-
I'm
you
getting
tell us what
pretty
you
grouchy,
need.
then we can talk about it.
Pretty great.
Jeff and Jeff
was here
can
25
man the
hours
phone
this
for
weekend,
2.5
so it wasn't
hours,
bad.
I'll man it for 2 or 3, how many
I don't know how it
hours?
works damn phones either.
We'll come in and we'll play.
I mean, I don't know what else. Give me a couple weeks to see how it goes. I may need somebody,
Yeah,
out there.
yeah.
Okay, here's my deal. I want to talk about now before
Get off there.
you go and need mental health
Yeah.
care taken care of.
Now you go back.
Evaluation.
Well, you want
I'm
to
serious.
request recess till 4:30?
Are we gonna talk about administrative issues
See, I
right
haven't
now?
approved them yet.
Is that what we're doing?
I don't know, I mean. You want to close down? I mean, I just,
I'm
give me
fine
a
with
couple
closing
weeks.
out, but we need to talk about it,
What's that?
about having help up here. So, you're saying wait a couple weeks, and then we'll be sending you and strapped down to a chair in an EMS or an ambulance up to Fulton.
She's gonna drink my bourbon.
Well, Kristen and them are here, they'll help. She'll
No,
do
they
I
that.
was gonna say, we'll help with whatever we can.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, Jeff, there's not really, no, by the time you get somebody in here to learn it, she'll be.
I'm not
We
saying you
probably
teach
should've
anybody
done
anything
that
such
before.
how to answer a phone.
Show them all, do the phone? Yeah, she does.
I know, but
Unless
we
Debbie
got
had
people that
somebody
call
that
Debbie's
come back and
phones.
work for a couple months.
Well, could you forward her phones to Melody and have her just kind of weed out the ones that aren't finance calls and then she can transfer back?
So what happens when Melody's not here? She goes to lunch, she's gotta take a hunting trip or something. Exactly. I don't think it'd be bad to have somebody that we could rely on to do that. So, all right, never mind, forget I brought it up. I don't wanna hear any bitching.
I move we recess till
I don't like it.
4:30.
Say that.
Move we recess till 4:30.
I'm saying I don't wanna hear it. When the time comes, I don't wanna hear it. I don't want anybody complaining, cause I sat here and tried to get you some help.
Would you second my motion to recess till 4:30?
Are we done? Is Chris
Well,
done?
Chris?
I'm still waiting on
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. So are you gonna say Chris was absent?
Aye.
You gonna ask him when he gets back?
Yeah.